In this video, I'll show you how to use Google Sheets to make a scatter plot with two quantitative variables. First thing is you'll need to have data in Google Sheets. You can either copy and paste it into a blank Google Sheet, or you can import data, or you can type in data with the keyboard. So to make a scatter plot, you need to have two quantitative variables. So here in my small data set, I have a variable, how many cars have you owned in your lifetime, and then how many keys are in your possession at this time. And then along the first column there, I have the students who answered these questions. So to make the scatter plot, I can start by highlighting the two variables that I want to make a graph with. So I just clicked and dragged to highlight the first variable, and then I can push Command or Control and then click and drag to highlight the second variable. And then up from the menu, I'll click on Insert, Chart, and then Google Sheets will automatically make a chart for you, but it's not necessarily the right chart. So we need to go up to the chart editor and make all the changes to get the correct chart. We want a scatter plot. So under the Setup tab, we'll choose the chart type. That is a little ways down, scatter plot. There's the data range that we selected, it's already in there. And then if you go further down this column here, it will give you the x-axis variable, and then the y-axis variable is just called series, and that's sort of a holdover from Excel. That's the way they do it. So here we have the x-axis variable is how many keys do you have, and then the y-axis variable is how many cars have you owned. So maybe there's an association between these two variables, and we want to explore that more. So if you need to switch these two variables, because let's say you want keys on the other axis and then cars down here, you can click on the little triple dots and then edit the variables. So all you'd have to do is delete the letters there in that range and then just click and drag on your other one. So I can push delete. I'm just going to redo this, but then you can just say, I'll click and drag and then push OK, and then there's your data again. Now, the way that Excel and Google Sheets will pick up your data is that the first variable that you select will be the y-axis variable, and then the second variable will be the x-axis variable. And I guess by first and second, I meant left and right. So whichever variable's further left, that's going to be your y-axis variable. You can also double check this by checking out a couple data points and say, okay, this point right here, this person had 0 keys and they had 9 cars. So then you can find the person who had 0 keys and 9 cars. And if I click and then move this graph, look, there is, let's see, 0 and 5, 0 and 9. There we go. And then you can also see a couple of the other data points. Someone had 5 cars and then 3 cars. And then that's confirmed by looking at the data set. All right, so this is our scatter plot. We're pretty much done, but you may want to clean this up a little bit by clicking on the axes on the labels and then changing them. So when I clicked on the x-axis label, it brought up another part of the editor under the Customize tab, and it shows chart and axis title. So in this drop-down box, it says horizontal axis title because that's what I clicked on first. But as you choose other options, vertical axis title, you can change the text. You can also change the chart title. It kind of pulls those words from your variables, your first row of data, but it might be too wordy. So I might say chart title, let's change that to relationship between keys and cars owned. And then I'll just put in students. All right, let's change the horizontal axis title. So that's how many keys are in your possession. So I might just write number of keys in your possession. Make it a little simpler. And then I'm going to click on the vertical axis title also. How many cars have you owned in your lifetime? I just might write cars owned in your lifetime. And I'll just put the word count after that, or I could have labeled it with number of cars owned. That would also work out fine. Oh, okay. So I clicked off the editor there and my little editor went away, but you can get that back by double clicking on your chart and then you have it all back. There are other things you can change. You can change the scale and whether you see these gray lines, which do help readability, but maybe it's distracting depending on your variable. You can make your graph bigger or smaller. You can move it around the page. You can also copy and paste it into a document and turn that in. You can also click on triple dots here. You can download the chart if you want to, publish it, copy it, move it to its own sheet, little things like that. You can also play around with colors, but for the most part, this is a scatter plot that you've made with 2 numeric variables, and then it's ready to go to do analysis later on.